So just to clarify that Lamed Aleph we didn't do on the board word for word, but we marked its significance therein as being a contrast to Reuben's reactions. Where Reuben's reactions were Anani, he had lost and he was so thrown off, they just went, okay, fine, and they were unfazed. And we contrasted that between Reuben's because he was working off his personal agenda. He had a selfish rationale for what was happening, so when Yosef disappeared and the entire plan was lost, he got thrown off, emotionally, personally, whatever. The brothers, as we've talked about, have a plan. They have a strategy. And whatever, every time another a bump in the road, they just sort of circumvent it and work around it. So not only do they have no reaction in contrast to Reuben, to give us that understanding of where they're coming from as opposed to where Reuben is coming from, but also, as we pointed out, they go with their original plan, plan A. They dip the thing and they're going to send it back and say evidence of that he's gone. For them, okay, Reuben's out, fine, Reuben's out, let's go back to what we originally said, let's kill him, throw him in a hole and say a wild animal did it. They are unfazed, they do so. So yeah, Lamed Aleph we did in that sense as a control against Reuben, but not the words themselves. So this is why we want to Lamed Bet. Avihu el Avihem v'yamru. V'yamru sot. Matzanu. Makerna. Maktonet. So the pasuk says, and they sent back the coat, and they sent back the coat, and they brought it to their father, and they said, "This is what we found." Zot matzanu. Hakerna, recognize this, please, or do you recognize this? Haktonet bicha imo. Is this the cloak, the tunic of your son, or not? Yeah, what do you got, Jess?
Why does it say Vayishachu and Vayishachu?
It's even worse than that because in that it says both, who theoretically are the shared pronouns.
Exactly.
Right? It's the brothers. So if they're sending it, how could they also be bringing it?
And also, why Vayishachu as opposed to, why are they sending it as opposed to Vayishachu? And why didn't they just take it over there?
Alright, right. So they could have just by a view. Really could have skipped this. Right. So in reconciling that, we have to figure out what they did. Good. Talia?
Why is it your son's tunic or not? Like, why can we say this is not your son's tunic?
Oh, because.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, what else? Yeah?
Why would it say, like, do you recognize this coat? Because it was not like any other, so obviously they knew that it was Yosef.
This entire question, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no kidding. Right here, let's just put it even better. Yeah. Good. Right? Obviously, the answer to the question is the one that Yaakov's going to say. Right? There's only one. It's that tailored, unique coat. Ethnic color, one could posit. If you're Angela or whoever, and not reading the Torah. Yeah?
Why does it say Avihem and not Yisrael?
Oh, interesting. I'm going to do this as the same box and color as that for Ruth. Okay, because I think if you can answer Bikah, we can answer that one. That's cool. That works. What else? What else? Anything else stand out? I'm going to read you this pasuk. וישלחו את תור הפסים ויביאו אל אביהם ויראו זאת מצאנו הקרן הכתובת בחיים בו. Anything stand out there? Just hearing it that way, Maya?
Why would they be like, is this your son's tunic or not, when obviously everyone knows this?
Right? So definitely their question seems easily answered, so why say it all for sure? Yeah?
I think the Zot Matzanu also.
Yeah. Meaning, it's a lot of words. Look how long, look how much it Zot matzanu, hakerna, hatorah b'chahi im lo. Oh my goodness, this truncated.
They're probably nervous.
Perhaps, yeah, definitely, right, yeah.
Also, why are they saying Zot Matzanu, then they're sending it with
Right, okay, so Zot matzanu can not only be added word, but what does this mean when we found this, right? Who's saying that and why are they saying it? Definitely. What does that imply? Good, yeah?
What is the aim low at? Like, why don't they just end the question here?
I'm gonna do this like I did this because it's just these extra words. And it feels like they finally get to talk and then, oh, let's not get off stage yet. It's a lot of words. Zot matzanu, im lo. You know when you're writing an essay, you don't say, I have to choose whether to do it or not. You say, I have to choose whether to do it. And the implication is you'll write the other side or not because that's the point. You don't say im lo. Yeah, hakerna, hatorah b'chahi. And you actually can say no or yes. Those are the fitting answers. How we get what? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Also, isn't it obvious that they know that Joseph's code because it says then it says
Yeah, this is to the father. Yeah, the final rule, they say to the father, at least, for sure. And then we have to decide whether it's shluchim or not, if it's even a disconnect too. Yeah?
Does it need to mention the connect twice?
This is the quote, yeah? Right, so this is the narrative. So this is what they did, the Ketonah Pasim, and luckily, maybe a question would have been cool if it said Ketonah Pasim, B'chani Yorlo. But at least this is the quote, and this is the narrative, at least it's not twice as it was, like 1 and 1. Yeah?
Is there maybe some significance to the Ketonah Pasim? Because I know like there is significance, like I know we spoke about it in like certain levels, like maybe it's bringing that level back.
Well, yeah. It's like the code that defined Yosef as who he was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah, word.
Hakerna, isn't that like a weird, just like recognize, like please recognize this? I think something's weird about that. Like it's like a kind of a rhetorical question, kind of not.
Maybe we can do this too. Once again, put it on our list of sort of unnecessary, makes sense, but
I
unnecessary
just think I've
words.
done it so much different.
Right. You can just say, Zot matzanu hatorah b'chahi.
Yeah.
I guess, right? And you can take this and this and this out. Sure, sure. Yeah, guess what?
Surely they could have said it in that way that their son, that Jacob's son passed away. Like why is it the focus of that? The code is that they coming to say that the son's actually dead. Like why would they say it in this kind of way?
Kind of cold, yeah?
Yeah.
Very formal. So glad to hear that. Good contributions. Yeah?
This doesn't keep the wording itself, but like, I think it's interesting that they're not implementing a narrative in what they want Yaakov to think about what happened to Yosef. Like, they really leave it up to him to like,
Yeah.
the winning.
Good. I think that's essential. Good. And the word's going to back that up, which is good. Good. Anything else? The issue that Ramban and Yisach Hiskuni address is Vayishlechu Vayavim. Okay? It can't be both. It can't be both the brothers. The problem is, Avihem sounds like this is the brothers. But if the brothers sent it, they sent it with somebody else, and therefore the people that are bringing it are not the sons of this guy. Right? So how do we reconcile the fact that it says Vayishlechu, but then it says they sent it, but yeah, they brought it, because it's one or the other. So Chizkuni says, okay, you have to read it better, because obviously reading it as it's stated doesn't make sense, so just sort of go with it. And he says, Lashon Shlichut, there's no doubt, Vayishlechu means they sent it, for sure. The Sireis HaMikra Hachi, and the Pasuk was sort of, I guess like jumbled in sort of a way. It sort of has to be reread. Sireis is sort of like manipulated. Okay? Vayishlechu ektonet hapasim el avihem, vayaviu oto hashluchim vayamru zot matzanu. So he says, really, this avihem goes here. Okay? They sent the ektonet hapasim to their father, and the shlichim brought it and said, because you're right, it's not written well, but there's no doubt that this El Aviam is modifying this, and it happens in the Bible, right, where you have a word in between, but it modifies. So, okay, I don't know if it's unconvincing or convincing, but he says the reason why it's so important is Aval Heim Atzmam Lo Ratzu Lahavia El Aviam. The key, Chizkuni says, is to make sure you understand it started with shlichut and ended with shlichut. They dafka wanted to ensure that they weren't the ones that were bringing this coat directly to Yaakov. Hein yargish bedavar, lest he sort of he feel it out a little bit. He gets a little suspicious because he and everybody knows ki hadavar yadua shesonim oto. There's been this hatred. That's not like a surprise. So suddenly, the people of this past hatred are coming with a bloody coat and saying, well, we happen to find this. That would be like suspicious. Yaakov would start putting two and two together. So they wanted to distance themselves as much as possible from the presentation of this evidence of Yosef's death. Okay, it was like an active decision. Vayish lechu. Yeah?
Then you think that would be like less sketchy than just someone bringing a coat and the brothers happen to all be out and it's like Joseph's blood on the coat?
Well, I think according to this, it sounds like people were traveling through Dotan. That's the cover story. These messengers weren't sent by the brothers, technically, from Yaakov's perspective. They were travelers through, and they were passing through Hebron, and they said, hey, Zot Matzanu. We happen to find this. Do you recognize this? Because obviously this looks very tailored, and we're wondering if it's from you. That would be the story. Ramban gives three options. The second one being like this. The first one, Bet Sivoy. He says none of this is actually a narrative what played out. It's all Bet Sivoy. It's all under the rubric of commanding, i.e., they commanded it to be sent, commanded it to be brought to their father, and commanded that the people, the messengers, say, Zot Matzanu. Okay, it all plays out according to their tzivoy. So yeah, it would be weird if the narrative was, and they sent it, and they brought it. It's not. It's the brothers commanded it to be sent and to be brought. And when it was brought, the messenger said, Vayamru Zot Matzanu. Betzivoy. Again, he's forced to do this because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Yeah?
Just to clarify, the storyline is that the messengers are going to say that we, the messengers, found this code. It's not that the brothers found the code at all.
Exactly. Except for Ramban's third option.
Wait, so
Second, what?
you're saying that this is like,
Yes, sir.
you're saying this isn't actually what happened, this is just like the brothers telling the messengers what to do?
Send it and bring it.
Do you think it's okay for some random person to tell their father that his favorite son died?
Yeah. We're going to see, but again, Chizkuni would say they needed to do that, so there's no suspicion being raised. Yeah, Rebecca?
Back to Rachel's question, does that also apply to Chizkuni? Like, also the messengers are saying, so,
Oh, definitely. Even
Okay.
more so.
okay.
Even more so, because he's just saying, put Vayishlachu El Avihem, Vayaviu is the messengers.
So far, the brothers don't
Again,
even
same kind of
correct.
disconnect.
Okay.
Second one is, O Vayaviu HaShluchim HaMeviim, right? So Vayaviu is modifying the Shlichim that brought it, right? The messengers, like this when he said. Ki Shalchu Ota, the Otam Bedotan, they stayed in Dotan. Now watch this. V'amru Zot Matzanu HaKerah, okay? Then they have to say, we found this. Yaakov, we heard, you know, you're a tailor, we found this. Watch it. 3. O. Sheshalchuha El Hebron Lebayit HaChad Ben. Oh, tremendous. He said they did send it, but they didn't send it to their father. They sent the Ketonot Pasim to Hebron, to one of their bayits, to one of their ohalim. Okay, they FedExed it, right, to one of their houses. Okay. Then, Ubevoam, when the brothers got back to Hebron, Ichnisua lifnei avihem v'amru lo zot matzanu. Then the brothers got back home, took it out of one of their houses, and then they themselves presented it. I.e., it's true. This and this is consistently the brothers. The brothers didn't send it with messengers to bring it to the father. The brothers sent their messengers to bring it to hometown. And when the brothers got back, they went into one of their tents and said, hey, Zot Matzanu to Yaakov. So the brothers did this, and the brothers did this. What?
If that's the case, then why would they not just keep it the entire time?
Oh, very good. Yes, exactly. Say, yeah, we're getting there. Oh, good.
Wait, who's sending it to Hebron?
The brothers sent it to Hebron,
Yeah.
to one of their houses, tents, and then the brothers picked it up when they got home, and they themselves brought it before Yaakov.
So then I don't get how that would be less.
Oh, wait, I'm about to tell you. V'chol ze lekitznaker binyan ki'im shatku. All this was strategic. All this was planned out brilliantly. Because if they were totally quiet, you can say it like this, yeah? If they were totally quiet, haya choshedo tam lomar atem haraktem oto ki yada kimatem bo. Because if they were totally quiet, as Kuskuni posited, the suspicion would have been worse. All of a sudden, the coat shows up, and the brothers aren't to be seen. Oh, those brothers. I knew Reuben was trouble when Leah had him. I could just tell the way he looked at me. You hate my mother. Yeah. So if they were totally quiet, that would raise suspicion. But if they came back from Dotan and said, we've got a coat, that would also be problematic. So brilliantly, what did they do? Lehit naker. Is this true? Zot matzanu according to this read? Yeah, because where did they find it? In one of their tents. So they send it back. They can present it, not be absent, and raise suspicion. But they can also say, Zot matzanu, and it's like a white lie. But they did definitely find it in one of their tents.
But still, that's even like more sketchy that they're finding a bloody coat in one of their tents.
Well, Yaakov didn't know that it was in their tent.
That's the
They
point.
also haven't been there for so long. So
Right, it's
But
about...
how did it end up in their tents?
It's
Like how?
not there.
But how did Yaakov think it ended up?
How did
in
the-
their
Oh,
tents?
that doesn't matter, that's the point. From Yaakov's perspective, and this is what we really have to mark.
That they found.
From Yaakov's perspective, the facts are the facts. What I want to mark, and this is what's going to answer the entire importance of this question, of this pasuk. What's going on here is the brothers planned things out. They were playing it in such a way that they could say, oh, Zot Matzanu, and sort of not be lying. Or they could be absent to avoid this suspicion. Because the question's ultimately going to be, why do we care? Right? This is a nice little, stage set. And the brothers come home, right? Yeah, okay. It's drama! Yeah, Abigail.
But if they're not able to explain to Yaakov how the coat got there, and then they're randomly just going to Hebron, that's suspicious.
What's this? What do they say to Yaakov?
Do you recognize it?
Okay, it's like, what are they playing? They're just as?
Surprise.
They're just as bewildered, just as surprised. They're thrown off too. Zot Matzani. We question why say that. Because they have to say that. And they're not lying, according at least to Ramban. Right? Or, according to Chizkuni, it's actually the messengers, and the messengers Zot Matzani. I.e., there really isn't a lie here. There's no brazen lie to Yaakov's face. They played it.
But how are they explaining how the coat got to
They're
Hebron?
not. That's not the point. Zot Matzanu. Whether it's the shluchim or whether themselves having found it in one of their tents, it's true. Zot Matzanu, we did find it. Yeah?
When they question whether they recognize it,
Whether he recognizes it.
yeah, oh, whether he okay, but,
Yeah.
Not blackmail, is it?
Ah,
No, like
that's the wrong
they could pose it as black.
Oh.
Like
What? No, that's the wrong word. What do you mean?
No, like I'm saying like they could say it like to Yaakov, like oh like they just showed up like she think it's like black now, like what is it?
Blackmail means you have something over somebody and you tell them to do something, but
Yes, I'm saying they can find this quote in their house and be like, oh, well, maybe it's black, or that's why they take it to their father. If it was just some random quote, they would probably throw it away.
Well, yeah, they do recognize it,
Yeah.
right? That's the
So
point.
I'm saying.
Right, so the question is, why are they saying this to Yaakov? Right, why are they doing this entire thing to Yaakov? Right, that's going to be the question. What's the purpose of this pasuk? Yeah?
Why does it matter if they lie or not? Why aren't
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Why aren't they willing to just say that they found it?
Right! Or not say it at all.
They were gonna kill his brother, their brother, so why did they care about?
Yeah! You see no et damo, remember? They're all good. Those are the questions you have to answer, because this pasuk is telling us that they spent a lot of time on making sure that they did this right. That's my point. If you look at everything we question, no matter which mefaresh you're going with, no matter how you want to interpret it, how many words are here? Yeah, a lot. Let's count. What does this sound like to you? Hakerna, bincha, hi, im, lo. What does that say? Oh, by the way, Tali, bincha could be because it's the messengers, yeah? Right? Because the messenger's saying your son, yeah? Because your brother, or the brothers themselves. What does it sound like to you?
They're just as clueless as Yaakov.
Yeah, but better than that, because we know they're not, yes? The facts are that they know exactly what this is all about.
Well, they're fabricating it to look like they did.
Correct! Why? Why are they fabricating this entire story very complicatedly? There's a seeming deviousness here. There's a premeditation here. I can picture them sitting around a little meal and say, what should we do? Well, Binyamin always has great ideas. Or at what?
But when you make a lie complicated, it's not really.
No! Yeah, yes, but no. Torah?
Is it to confuse Yaakov?
No, because it has to be explicitly. That's the point. He has to be able to say, yeah. What are they doing?
Any holes in this could ruin their whole plan. Like,
We've got two issues. That's one of them. Excellent. Remember what the ultimate goal is and always has been. They believed Yosef and Yaakov by extension, or Yaakov and Yosef by extension, have ruined the possibility of the legacy being what it's supposed to be. Yeah, remember that whole thesis. Okay? What do they need? Two things to happen at this presentation. This is the climax. This is the crescendo. This is when it's make or break. This is basically at the end of the parak, because we're not going to hear from the brothers for long. This is the stage. This is Act 1, Scene 5. This is where it's either going to happen or not going to happen. What has to happen?
Need Yaakov to believe that he was wrong.
One, Yaakov has to believe that Yosef is dead. It has to be done in such a way where Yaakov is fully understanding that he's dead, because if he didn't,
then he wouldn't let go of him.
oh my God. Their legacy has to advance. The plan has to keep going. If Yaakov for an instant thought that Yosef wasn't dead, what would Yaakov do the rest of his life?
Look for him.
He would never give up hope. His chosen one is alive and ready to facilitate the future. And the brothers are already stalled out. Two, what had to happen? You can answer my question? Yeah?
Yaakov has to be willing to choose them afterwards.
And therefore, what has to happen in their presentation of the fait accompli that he is gone?
They have to convince him that they're right, that they did the
That they could, like, be trusted.
That it wasn't.
naive.
Exactly. Excellent. They are juggling. And probably one of the scariest fences they've ever had to straddle in their lives. They had to do this in such a way where it was totally convincing that Yosef was God, but it wasn't they that facilitated it. Because either one of those truths being unclear or unaccepted, it's out, it's over. And the entire thing is self-defeating. What does this pasuk show you? Just zoom out for a second. What do you see? What do you see?
Completely planned.
Yeah, there's a lot of words. And all these different things. You know why, Jess, it's so cold and I'm feeling? What are they presenting to Yaakov?
Their innocence.
And,
That Yosef is gone.
right, those are the official. Hakerna. We have evidence item number 1 here. Tachtonik bikahi ilo. You know why ilo? Because what do they want to give to Yaakov? Explicitly.
The either or.
Yeah, the either or. Excellent. The two choices. And they don't want any buzz. They don't want any misconception here. They do it as formally as they can. And whether Ramban or Chizkuni went, they distance it, whatever, they have to admit it a little bit, not to throw suspicion or not up, doesn't, whatever we understand this is, you can't deny that there's a lot of things that they're doing and a lot of words that they're saying. Because this is it. If Yaakov says, okay, this is their future. If Yaakov says, not okay, it's over. I mean, one of those pictures where I was going, yeah, trying to be calm about it, trying to be cool about it, and I was, what's he? Just lay it out. Are you gonna do it? No, I don't want to. You do it. I don't want to. You do it. Fine. Whatever. We'll do it together. Okay. There's too many words here not to understand that they're grappling with something complex. So now all of us, theoretically, are on the edge of our seats. I know I am if I was sitting. It's like, what's Yaakov gonna say? This is it. This is for all, for naught, or all for exactly that purpose. Right? The next words out of Yaakov's mouth is going to be destiny. Is going to be that legacy. Yeah.